Your mushrooms will wilt like this in just a few days if you don't know how to store them properly. Hi everyone, it's Tracy. Mushrooms spoil faster than most other foods in the refrigerator, and it's frustrating to buy a fresh pack of mushrooms only to throw half of them away. Today, I'll show you why mushrooms spoil so quickly and the easiest ways to keep them crisp, dry, and delicious for much longer. Stay with me. When you buy mushrooms, and after just a few days they start to spoil, have you ever wondered why it happens so quickly? You might even ask yourself whether the seller was unreliable or sold you poor quality produce. Stay calm and don't rush to blame the seller, because the main reason mushrooms spoil so fast is often how they're stored at home. Putting them in plastic bags or storing them in the wrong type of container traps moisture, causing them to become damp and spoil quickly. Another reason is that mushrooms contain nearly 90% water, which means they sweat very easily. When moisture gets trapped, mushrooms begin to break down, lose their firmness, and bacteria start to grow. But the good news is that with today's storage methods, you can keep your mushrooms fresh and dry for weeks, and sometimes even for months. Method 1. Using a paper bag. The first and most effective way to keep mushrooms fresh for a week or even longer is surprisingly simple. Use a regular brown paper bag. This method works so well because it solves the number one problem mushrooms face: excess moisture. When you bring mushrooms home from the store, the very first thing you should do is remove them from the tray and plastic wrap. The tray and plastic trap moisture and turn into a miniature greenhouse, causing the mushrooms to become damp and rot. Before storing them, remember one important rule: do not wash mushrooms right away. Water is mushrooms' biggest enemy. If you wash them before storing, they will absorb moisture like little sponges and spoil much faster. Instead, use a dry paper towel or a soft brush to gently wipe away any dirt. Next, prepare a brown paper bag, the kind used for food, and place all the mushrooms inside. The advantage of this type of bag is its breathability. It absorbs excess moisture that mushrooms naturally release, while also protecting them from drying out too quickly. Fold the top of the bag over a few times to close it. Now place the bag of mushrooms on a main shelf in the refrigerator, not in the crisper drawer. The crisper drawer retains humidity, which is great for leafy greens, but very bad for mushrooms. On a regular shelf, inside a paper bag, mushrooms will stay firm, dry, and flavorful for 5 to 7 days, and sometimes even longer. It's a simple habit that makes a real difference. Method 2. Using a glass jar plus paper towels. Just like before, start with mushrooms that are clean, dry, and unwashed. Quickly wipe them with a dry paper towel to remove any dirt on the surface. Then prepare a clean, dry glass jar with a lid and line the bottom of the jar with a layer of clean paper towels. This paper towel layer acts as the first barrier, absorbing any moisture that settles at the bottom. Next, gently place the mushrooms into the jar. Don't pack them too tightly. Good airflow is the key to keeping mushrooms dry and fresh. Once the jar is filled, place another layer of paper towel on top. This second layer catches condensation near the lid, keeping the inside environment dry and controlled. Now close the lid, but don't tighten it all the way. Leave it slightly loose so air can circulate. This helps prevent moisture buildup, which is the main reason mushrooms become slimy. Place the jar on the middle shelf of the refrigerator, where the temperature is more stable. Every few days, check the paper towels. If they feel damp, simply replace them with fresh ones. With this method, your mushrooms can stay fresh, firm, and full of flavor for 7 to 10 days, sometimes even longer. This method is tidy, reliable, and perfect for anyone who loves an organized refrigerator. Method 3. Long-term freezing. If you bring home a large amount of mushrooms, maybe because they were on sale, or you found a great batch at the farmer's market, the simplest solution is to store them in the freezer. Frozen mushrooms can last up to 6 months, or even longer, as long as they are prepared correctly. You can freeze mushrooms raw, but honestly, that's not the best idea. Because mushrooms contain nearly 90% water, freezing them raw creates large ice crystals that damage their cell structure. When thawed, they become soft, watery, and lose their firmness. They're only suitable for blended soups, not for most other dishes. For the best results, you should lightly sauté the mushrooms before freezing. First, quickly rinse the mushrooms under cold running water just enough to remove surface dirt. Do not soak them, because mushrooms absorb water very quickly. Pat them completely dry. If the mushrooms are larger than 2.5 centimeters, slice or quarter them so they cook evenly. Then heat a small amount of oil in a pan and sauté the mushrooms until they release their liquid and the liquid has fully evaporated. Let the mushrooms lightly brown. This step removes excess moisture and preserves flavor. Once cooked, let them cool. Spread the mushrooms in a single layer on a parchment-lined baking sheet and place them in the freezer until solid. This prevents them from clumping together. After they're fully frozen, transfer the mushrooms to a freezer bag, squeeze out all the air, and store them. Now you have perfectly preserved mushrooms ready to use in pasta, soups, stir-fries, or stews whenever you need them. Method 4. Storing sliced mushrooms for 3 to 5 days. If you already have sliced mushrooms, maybe you prepped them ahead of time or bought them pre-sliced, you'll need to store them a little differently. Sliced mushrooms don't stay fresh as long as whole mushrooms, because the exposed surface loses moisture more easily and spoils faster. However, with the right method, you can still keep them fresh for about 3 to 5 days. Start with a clean, airtight container. Line the bottom of the container with a dry paper towel. This simple step is very important because sliced mushrooms release moisture faster than whole mushrooms, and that excess moisture is what causes them to become slimy. The paper towel acts like a sponge, absorbing moisture and keeping the environment inside the container dry. Next, arrange the sliced mushrooms in a thin layer, without packing them too tightly. Try not to crowd them. Good airflow helps prevent the mushrooms from sweating. After one layer, you can add another layer of paper towel, and then place another layer of mushrooms on top. Continue this process, and for the final layer, be sure to place one more paper towel on top before sealing the container. This top layer absorbs additional moisture and prevents condensation from dripping onto the mushrooms. Once the container is ready, place it on the middle shelf of the refrigerator to maintain a stable temperature, helping the mushrooms stay firm and fresh for a few more days. Remember to check the paper towels daily. If they become damp, replace them to prevent moisture buildup. With this method, your sliced mushrooms will stay clean, dry, and ready for quick meals, perfect for fried eggs, stir-fries, pasta dishes, or even a last-minute soup when you need something warm and fast. So now you've learned 4 simple and effective ways to keep mushrooms fresh longer, whether you need a quick solution for a week, a cleaner storage method, or a way to freeze mushrooms for several months. These tips can really make a big difference. I'd love to hear from you. How do you store mushrooms at home? Or do you have a tip that I didn't mention? Please share it in the comments. And if today's guide was helpful, give the video a like and subscribe to the channel for more easy and practical kitchen tips.